All right, good morning, everybody. It's great to be back in Tampa. As always, I'm here with a great group of interagency partners to roll out our task force for prosecuting public assistance fraud. I think if you've paid any attention to the news the last few months, we've seen some very alarming things in Minnesota, California, hundreds of millions, potentially billions of dollars, going out and likely falling into the wrong hands, likely being abused, likely being stolen, fraudulently concealed by sophisticated actors that are not just stealing from the government, they're stealing from you. They're stealing from the taxpayers. We have these programs, like Medicaid, SNAP, EBT, rental assistance, programs where you, the voters, the taxpayers, have decided, we want to step up and we want to help out people in need. We want to help people get back up on their feet. A lot of the recipients of these funds and programs are people with disabilities, single mom families, individuals that are suffering. So it's unnerving when criminals out there would want to fraudulently steal and take advantage of those individuals, the vulnerable, but also our taxpayers. So here in Florida, as you know, we are no Minnesota, we are no California. We are going to step up and kick it into a higher gear as we work hard to fight back against these fraudsters. So I'm joined today by our statewide prosecutor, Brad McVeigh, FD Elite Commissioner Mark Glass, who you know well. Do you have an office down here, Mark?
Yes, sir.
You do. I figured you must. I feel like I see you down here more than in Tallahassee. That's where the people are. It's where the action is. Our great Secretary Siobhan Harris from the Agency for Healthcare Administration. We've got Associate Deputy Attorney General and Director of Medicaid Fraud Control Unit, Kathy Von Haney. Thank you for being here, Kathy. And our Assistant Statewide Prosecutor, newly hired, which I'll announce here in a minute, Scott Strauss. So as I mentioned, we see examples where people are taking advantage of public assistance. Billions of dollars go out the door to these programs, and unfortunately, we see fraud across the country. Here in Florida, the free state of Florida, we do everything as best we can. We're a great state, but there's no doubt still fraud and criminal activity taking place here. We have a large population. We have a large Medicaid population, a lot of money coming into this state, and we want to make sure it's landing in the right places. It's being received by the people that need it and are actually entitled to it. We don't want criminals taking advantage and scamming. I think it's wrong where you have illegal aliens that don't have a legal right to be in the country taking advantage of these programs, stealing from others, and we're going to crack down on it. So this morning we announced this task force that's going to be working together to take on more of a proactive approach. Typically, our statewide prosecutors, our team, we get cases upon referral from other law enforcement agencies, other departments. They come to us, and where we see wrongdoing, you better believe we prosecute. Our Medicaid Fraud Control Unit does a great job of tying up these investigations, going out and holding wrongdoers accountable. But we're going to step it up and take a more proactive approach. Today I'm happy to announce that we're naming a special prosecutor in our statewide prosecution office, Scott Strauss, who is going to spearhead this effort and is going to work hand in hand with other agencies, with ACA, with DCF, with our law enforcement partners. And he's going to do a great job, making sure that we're helping bring prosecutorial direction on the front end, put cases together, and ultimately, conduct some audits, cross-check. Is my mic not on? You're looking at me. Okay. He's going to be looking to cross-check areas where you have individuals that have applied or receiving assistance and who may not actually be eligible. And where that happens, we're going to go out, we're going to make arrests, we're going to prosecute, and as you know, in Florida, we prosecute to the fullest. We've already gotten a good start. Over the last year, we've gone after millions in fraudulent, stolen funds from public assistance. Just recently, we arrested a guy in Orlando who was seeking reimbursements for providing transportation services to disabled children on Medicaid. He was not actually transporting disabled children. So he's seeking reimbursements. He's probably just driving around, if he's even driving at all, and ultimately is stealing from the taxpayers. I think this is one example that highlights the serious abuses that are out there. We see people using new technology and innovations to steal in complex ways. There's devices that will scan and track EBT cards, where then people can go out and use, fraudulent cards or, technological copies of those cards to go out and spend government money. That's not acceptable. So we're going to be working with FDLE, Commissioner Glass, our law enforcement partners across the state, and we are going to shut this behavior down. We're going to return money back to the taxpayers. The millions in the Medicaid and public assistance fraud, arena that I mentioned, that makes up just part of the over $800 million that we've been able to recover over the last year through settlements, seizures, forfeitures, and judgments for Floridians. And I'm happy to announce that we're adding another $50 million. We just settled in our opioid litigation with Albertsons, so that number is only going to continue to grow. We take a lot of pride in being a lean Office of the Attorney General, but we bring in a lot of money. We don't cost the government money. We're the highest ROI investment here in the state of Florida, and that is not going to change. So it's an honor to be here. I want to thank our partners across the government. I want to thank our law enforcement. They got their hands full here, everything from fentanyl cases and trafficking to a lot of these financial crimes, a lot of these public assistance crimes that maybe don't get the same news and attention as, a heinous murder crime. But at the end of the day, a lot of this money is facilitating other crime. We've tracked a lot of this to the open border for years, which thankfully we've been able to shut down thanks to the Trump administration. But we're going to make some examples. If you're out there and you're thinking about stealing from the government through one of these programs, you better think again, because we're shining a light. We're looking. We're going to be prosecuting. Scott Strauss, Kathy, Mark, and our team, we're going to be coming for you, and we're going to put you away for a long time. So thank you for being here. I will turn it over now to Secretary Siobhan Harris from ACA.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be joining you. I'm so grateful to stand alongside state leaders here who share the same commitment to mitigating public assistance fraud in Florida. I want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General for his leadership and unwavering commitment to root out fraud in our state and to prosecute those who perpetrate this crime. Today's announcement is one of many examples of the impact he is making, and we're excited to deepen our partnership with his team on these efforts. At the Agency for Healthcare Administration, we're responsible for administering the Medicaid program here in Florida. We serve some of the most vulnerable populations in our state, and our mission is to ensure they get the best quality of care. Fraud erodes that opportunity. These bad actors are not just robbing from the state's coffers, they hurt our ability to maximize support for children and seniors who need the assistance most. That is why we have a zero tolerance for fraud, waste, and abuse. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, our agency continues to have the support needed to proactively identify, address, and prevent fraud. The agency's Medicaid Program Integrity Unit has developed a system that is proactive, highly coordinated, preventive, and enforcement focused, and we constantly evaluate and enhance our tools and tactics to combat fraud. These efforts have consistently resulted in a high return on investment. For every dollar spent on Medicaid program integrity last fiscal year, $11.36 was returned to the state. Moreover, over the last 2 fiscal years, we've doubled the amount of overpayments recovered through fraud and abuse activities, topping out at over $60 million last fiscal year. And we've terminated and or denied enrollment to over 2,400 providers, thwarting future fraud or abuse attempts. Partnerships are vital to this work, and we're fortunate to regularly work with all levels of law enforcement, including FDLE, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the Florida Attorney General's Office. Attorney General Uthmeier's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit is one of our greatest partners when it comes to program integrity. We share information about intelligence briefings, case discussions, and data analytics support. This partnership enables ACA and MFCU to respond quickly and use local intelligence to support our investigations. ACA's collaborative efforts with our managed care plans have resulted in 540 fraud referrals to MFCU in the previous 2 fiscal years. Throughout the country, Medicaid programs are being tested by sophisticated schemes, which are not only deceptive, but highly coordinated, adaptive, and unfortunately, in some instances, successful. While many states throughout the country have experienced massive losses before intervention, Florida is constantly evaluating our control measures, developing tactics for faster detection, and sharpening our procedures and tools for better accountability. I'll borrow from the Attorney General's line, Florida is not Minnesota. Again, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you again, Attorney General, for your intentional efforts. We look forward to working with Director Strauss and continuing all of our fraud fighting and prevention efforts.
Thank you, Secretary. Commissioner Glass?
Thank you, General. I appreciate it. I'm FDLE Commissioner Mark Glass. Committing fraud in this great state is a crime. Committing this crime or this fraud against public assistance programs, taking it away from the much needy persons that need this, and to help us and to help them, it's just inexcusable. If you're doing that in this great state, I want you to go to the mirror right now, look at yourself in the mirror, and just yell thief, because that's what you are. You're thieving from children, you're thieving from our seniors, you're thieving from the great state of Florida, where we're able to take these programs and do so much better and help people out and get them back up on their feet and moving. I can tell you with the Office of Statewide Prosecutor from the General's office here, they're going to bring the hammer in on this one. The FDLE agents and analysts are seeking out fraud, working with all the fraud investigators in this great state, and we're going to find you. So the best thing for you to do right now is to stop what you're doing, try to pay restitution back of what you already stolen. Otherwise, we're coming after you. And then you're going to have to court mandated to pay it back after you serve your prison sentence. I can tell you with the Scott coming on board, he's not going to let up. He's going to come after you. And we're going to give him all the evidence he needs to convict you, get you convicted. So with that, General, I'm just going to say thank you for putting this task force together again. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. And next we've got Statewide Prosecutor Brad McVeigh.
Thank you, General. Good morning. Brad McVeigh, Statewide Prosecutor. Floridians deserve a government that protects their taxpayer dollars from thieves and fraudsters. When it comes to taxpayer-funded benefit programs, these funds, as the General said, are for some of our most vulnerable populations. Floridians deserve to have those programs and those funds protected against theft and misappropriation. State benefits fraud erodes the trust between government institutions responsible for administering these programs and the taxpayers who fund them and the people who the programs are meant to serve. We believe that prosecuting individuals, holding them accountable, those who commit the theft of these benefit programs is crucial. To that end, it is important for us to take the lead in this initiative and head up this task force. The appointment of a special prosecutor will ensure that state benefits fraud is aggressively pursued, the investigations are coordinated and comprehensive, and that there are arrests and prosecutions that result. In addition to seeing to it that those who steal or fraudulently misuse taxpayer dollars are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, Scott Strauss will also serve as the main point of contact for state agencies, our federal partners, and other investigators who are pursuing criminal leads in this arena. This approach will ensure agency coordination amongst government stakeholders. It will also allow us to determine if vulnerabilities exist in the current system and identify solutions and tools that may assist in identifying and rooting out fraud in the future. Scott Strauss, selected to lead this initiative, I can assure the taxpayers you'll get your money's worth with Scott. There are very few that work harder than Scott, and he will leave no stone unturned in this endeavor. He's already gotten to work, and I think he's going to share a little bit about what he's already done. What you can expect, I would say results, and I'd say quickly. When we launch one of these task force or initiatives, it's not just to get up here and talk. We are tracking the Attorney General's priorities, and we are devoting our resources in the Office of Statewide Prosecution and directing them at his priorities. What you've seen in the last 6 months, crackdown on sex predators, crackdown on drug trafficking organizations and fentanyl distributors, the announcement yesterday, a record-setting quarter for our cyber enforcement unit, election crimes. I think we had the highest number of arrests per quarter in the end of 2025. The organized retail theft task force, we've seen a massive uptick in investigations and prosecutions related to that. So these things work, and this one we believe is going to work as well. We're excited about it, and we believe there will be an uptick in investigative activity, arrests, and convictions to report on here in the near future. Thank you, General.
Thanks, Brad. I might need to borrow that list when I get home at 10 at night and my wife's rolling her eyes at me, why are you so late? I don't even know where to begin, but that list makes me realize why I'm a little bit tired. So we got a great team, and everybody's standing behind me. They're the reason why we're breaking all the records on prosecutions, convictions, seizures, record crime lows. It's not a surprise. As I mentioned, other states, it seems like people have been turning a blind eye. There's been systematic fraud that's been ongoing. You hate to think that the government's been aware of it or has enabled it to happen, but when you see how widespread it is in states like Minnesota, you have to wonder. Here in Florida, we don't have that, where we've been alerted to criminal activity. We've gotten involved, we've prosecuted. I think Kathy's a main reason for that, and really is a national leader when it comes to combating Medicaid fraud. Other states, they want the Florida blueprint, which is a position we enjoy being in. So we're grateful to Kathy and her team. I'll let her say a few words.
Thank you, General. The men and women who serve in the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit are very proud to be members of the Attorney General's Law Enforcement Unit, and that we are. Our unit has a statutory mission to administer a statewide program to oversee the investigation and prosecution of Medicaid provider fraud and patient abuse, neglect, and exploitation in board and care facilities receiving Medicaid payments. When we refer matters for prosecution, I'm proud to say that our Office of Statewide Prosecution trust the experience of our attorneys that work in our Medicaid Fraud Control Unit, and they cross-designate them to actually prosecute these cases for fraud, multi-judicial circuit fraud, and of course, we have other cases for pain, which we call patient abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So I want to thank again every one of the state attorney's offices throughout the state of Florida who again cross-designate our attorneys to prosecute patient abuse, neglect, and exploitation cases in conjunction with the single judicial circuit fraud cases. As the other speakers and the General himself have mentioned, our goal is to protect the public fisc, the integrity of the Medicaid program, and also to protect the vulnerable populations which the program serves. This is why we have a dual function for both provider fraud and patient abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So speaking with our state partners that we interact with on a regular basis, Secretary Siobhan Harris at ACA in her Medicaid Program Integrity Unit, Health Quality Assurance Units, the Deputy Secretary of Medicaid's Department, they give us everything we need in terms of evidence, including access to the claims data, to allow us to make our fraud cases and they work with us on a regular basis, just as the Secretary had noted. With regard to Agency for Persons with Disabilities, they run the group homes. They have the I-Waiver program. They also make referrals to us, like ACA does, for fraud and for pain, patient abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So we tell people that when you see something, you say something. You can report provider fraud to the Attorney General's office, and we have multiple ways that you can do that. If you see recipient fraud where there is a illegal transaction going on with the provider, you have a fraudulent provider that is doing something bad with recipients, that's something we need to know about. You need to tell us what you see. We also have great relationships with our state and local law enforcement, and I want to thank them because they help us with everything, including search warrants and arrest warrants. And as you know, that's a critical function for law enforcement. And finally, we also have our federal partners, HHS OIG, the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Inspector General. We work with their federal agents, and we pursue strike force cases where we achieve a force multiplier effect. And we will continue to do that to cooperate with our state and federal partners. Thank you.
All right, and last but not least, we have Scott, who you've already heard a little bit about. He's a glutton for punishment here in Florida. He's an aggressive prosecutor, very zealous. We brought him in as we launched our election crimes unit. Florida, as you all know, used to be the laughingstock of elections administration 25 years ago, and we've taken it seriously. Our legislature's passed some election integrity reforms that have worked well, and we launched the first in the country elections crimes unit, which has gone out and prosecuted dozens of cases to conviction of voter fraud, sending a message that we take our elections seriously, and we are not going to allow cheaters to dilute the votes of other citizens. Scott went in there. He was a bulldog. He helped that team really, really make a mark, and they're operating very, very well today. He left, and we pulled him back a second time and sent him to the Department of Education, where he went out and prosecuted cases against election or education administrators that exposed our kids, our students, to harm. We somehow convinced him to come back to public service again and join us in this new effort as we go out and we prosecute public assistance fraud. So he'll be a great help to us as we work across agencies to spearhead this effort. Scott.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to start by expressing my deepest gratitude to you, General, for appointing me to lead this very important and critical mission. I fully understand the gravity of this undertaking, and I am honored, sir, to work under your leadership. Similarly, I want to thank the Florida statewide prosecutor, Brad McVeigh, for his confidence in me to assist in building the prosecutorial infrastructure that makes the General's initiative possible. Of course, I also want to thank the key stakeholders that are standing behind me, and thank you all for your very kind words, because they very much are included in the mission. I want to thank Secretary Harris from MACA, FDLE's Commissioner Glass, and Director Von Haney from the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Let me just briefly tell you what we've done in just a little under a week. We've moved with speed, the type of speed that this mission's going to demand. We've sat with stakeholders across multiple state agencies. We've already begun to align our intelligence. We've begun to pool our resources, and we are quietly assembling something across this state that the people running these schemes will not see coming. Rest assured, you will see what truly aggressive, proactive, coordinated, prosecution looks like, and it will be relentless. Medicaid providers fabricating claims and billing the state for patients they never saw or for services they never received. We're coming for you. Criminal networks skimming EBT cards and stripping food benefits from families who literally have nothing to spare. We are definitely coming for you. And those individuals who are falsifying applications, even as we speak here today, to collect benefits that are meant for people in genuine need and taking from the most vulnerable to line their own pockets, we're coming for you. Every last one of you. The bottom line, defrauding the people of Florida is no longer a business model. It's not a calculated risk. It is a guarantee of prosecution. And this office will deliver on that guarantee without hesitation and without apology. To every fraudster operating in the state right now, your time is up. We're not waiting on tips. We're not waiting on referrals. We're already in your records. We're already building your cases. And we are coming. And finally, let me address all the Floridians, the families, the taxpayers who fund these programs through their hard work. To the men, to the women, and to the children who depend on these programs just to get through their week. You have always deserved a system that fights for you with everything it has. Today, thanks to General Uthmeier and his leadership, that system has a name. It has a mandate, and it is ready to get to work. Thank you very much.
When people meet Scott, they always tell me he seems a little bit intense. That's what we want on this initiative. We're going to be intense, very serious in our effort to go out and protect our state and taxpayers. We're not Minnesota. We're not California. We never will be. So as these guys said it, if you're a criminal, I don't know why you'd want to be in the state of Florida. I mean, stop doing crime generally, but certainly don't do it here because, as they said it, we are coming for you. We will prosecute. You will do time. I'm in a bit of a hurry, so I can't do any questions today. But if you have any follow-up about the initiative itself or any specific cases, and we will have a lot more cases that we'll be announcing very soon, please let our office know, and we'll get back to you. Thank you very much.